Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, where today we are featuring a battle starring the world's cutest tank. Yes, it's the long-awaited return of the Panzer II Luchs. It's being driven for us today by Apache SP in this Tier 4 battle on the Ensk map, and he is of course platooned up, I very nearly said divisioned, I've been playing way too much World of Warships, platooned up with another Panzer II Luchs, driven by his friend Trash Pirate. I have to admit, I definitely do prefer these low and mid-tier games in World of Tanks, up to around about Tier 7, no lower than Tier 4, because they're just so much more dynamic and interesting than what high-tier battles appear to have devolved into lately, which usually consists of going hull down and trading gold ammo between your impenetrable turret and the enemy tank's impenetrable turret. You don't get that down here at Tier 4. Ironically enough, particularly when you're shooting at a Panzer B2, where the only place you can usually penetrate it with the guns available at tanks at this tier is in the turret, which is the weakest part of the army. And yeah, I realise that there's going to be a lot of amateur gameplay down here at Tier 4, but remind me again why that's different to Tier 10? At least down here at Tier 4 they have an excuse, they don't know any better. Okay, there are a lot of players at Tier 8 and 10 that don't know any better either, but well, they don't have the excuse of being new to the game. Of course, that doesn't mean that everybody down here at this kind of tier are going to be new to the game either, although the majority will be, but there are a lot of seal clubbers around. Flat Jingles? Seal clubbers? Is there something you're not telling us? Well, maybe. Okay. This is a North American server battle, and yes, Apache SP has 58,000 battles played, 1,200 of them in this tank. But when a tank's as cute and as much fun as the Panzer II looks, you don't really need an excuse to be playing it. It's true that his most played tank is actually the Tortoise, a Tier 9, but he also spends a lot of time at Tier 6 in the Cromwell, T150, and this is the only Tier 4 tank that he plays with any degree of regularity. Unlike an actual professional seal clubber that re-rolls a fresh account and plays nothing but T67s and Panzer IIJs. His most played tanks are all Tier 5 and 6, with one exception, the Tortoise at Tier 9. But you have to go a long way down his most played tanks list to find any Tier 10s. In fact, his 30th most played tank is his first Tier 10, the FV217 Badger. It seems like he just only really enjoys playing at the tiers where the game is fun, rather than the tiers where it's a horrible, soul-destroying, boring grindfest. Funny that. And yes, he is obviously going to find himself at something of an advantage when he is playing the Panzer II Luchs down here at Tier 4, but that doesn't make him a bad person, does it? And yeah, I know that people are going to be calling him a seal clubber in the comments anyway, and there is a certain amount of truth in that accusation, but well, how can I put it? If Wargaming went out of their way to make the game actually fun to play at Tier 8, 9 and especially 10, he'd be playing at Tier 8, 9 and especially 10. The fact that he isn't and mostly plays at Tier 6, 5 and 4, well, that's not his fault, is it? Oh, hang on a minute. What's going on here? We're almost 3 minutes into the battle and the match hasn't already been decided. This is already shaping up to be a highly unusual low-tier battle. So, there's an enemy tank in the cap circle, which is what he was reacting to, but now there isn't an enemy tank in the cap circle, which suggests that somebody was just passing through it in order to try to sneak up behind them. Oh wait, no, he's back in the cap circle, so, well, he has to be on the other side of that pile of rubble. Yep, it's a BT-5. Surprise! You can shoot back anytime you like. Oh, he did. Oh, wow, missed from 5 meters. No, don't judge him. He probably only has a 50% crew. Oh, I probably should have warned you at the beginning of the video. It's maybe a little bit too late now, but yes, there is going to be extensive cruelty to small tanks during the course of this battle. Anybody with a nervous disposition should probably consider switching to something slightly less violent, like Hello Kitty Online, around about now. The team are 3 kills behind, but I strongly suspect that that BT-5 is probably not going to survive for much longer. Anytime there it is. Stop playing with your food, Apache. Yeah. The Luchs does have a very, very good gunpowder. The autocannon, it's a 30mm. I believe it's actually the 30mm autocannon the Luftwaffe fitted on their aircraft like the Focke-Wulf 190. And it will penetrate 90mm of armour. Although, as an autocannon, the armour penetration value falls off dramatically with range, far more so than a regular anti-tank gun. But if you can get in close, it is a very, very dangerous gun. The only real downside is that the gun handling really does suck. I mean, look at how long you have to wait to aim. Unless you're at point blank range and are physically incapable of missing, with 0.5 accuracy and a 2.2, I think, second aiming time, you really do have to get in close. The situation improves at tier 5. On the VK1602 Leopard, you get a 1.7 second aiming time, and the accuracy does still suck. Wow, did you not know that you were getting shot at from over here? Why would you just... wait. Low tier. He's a noob, he didn't know any better. Fair enough. But yes, this same 30mm autocannon on the VK1602 Leopard at tier 5 does have much better gun handling, much faster aiming time, and while the accuracy does still suck, it is at least better. The only problem is, now you're at tier 5, and that 90mm of penetration isn't looking quite so good. 2 of them left, against... 1 of them left. Me and my big mouth. Right, plenty of opportunities for some kills here. Goes for the Panzer III, thinks about backing up, realises that the Panzer B2's turret is turning this way, the Stug has headed around the corner, so it was just faster and easier to move forward instead. Here comes the B2. The thing about the Luchs is, while it does have a very punchy gun, particularly when it's top tier, and it is very, very fast, it of course has absolutely no armour. Which is of course what makes it all the more amusing when you run into an actual professional seal clubber like the FCM Pack 40 over there, firing gold, because of course you need 128mm of penetration to deal with a tier 4 light tank, don't you? Although I suppose it's true that he didn't know he was going to be in a tier 4 battle, did he? He could have been in a tier 5 battle. But, well, he isn't in a tier 5 battle, is he? And the fact that he's still shooting gold when there's only a tier 4 light tank left probably indicates that he came into this battle with nothing but gold ammo. A theory which I think is supported by the fact that he's in an FCM Pack 40, one of the true notorious seal clubbing machines of choice. But at the end of the day, it's his money, and as long as he's having fun, who cares? It's not like it would have made any difference. Standard ammo would have worked just fine. Speaking of which, it has not escaped my attention that Apache also has a substantial load of gold ammunition. Now that may seem a little hypocritical, but this is the first time he's loaded it. He simply hasn't needed it up until now. Okay, he's not going to need it to deal with the T3 over there. He's probably thinking, God damn it, total waste of ammunition. But he may need it to deal with the Stug 3. Given the god-awful accuracy of this 30mm autocannon, any shots fired at the front of the Stug may penetrate, or they may hit the gunmanlet, in which case they very definitely won't. And the T3 is not the only enemy vehicle in that cap circle, and the other one may very well be the Stug. Ooh, and it is. Yeah. And he's facing this way, and you can see, even with the gold loaded, half of those shots bounce. It's not that I'm completely against the inclusion of gold ammunition in World of Tanks. Well, okay, it is. I honestly think it's a terrible idea. Although not so much down here at the lower tiers, where it's very often just not needed, and only under really specific circumstances. Like when you're the last tank alive in your team, you absolutely have to win, and you have to shoot at the front of a Stug 3B, or the side of a Panzer B2 when your gun isn't accurate enough to reliably be able to hit the tiny turret. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And down at this kind of level, even if you have it, most of the time you really don't need it. Now where I think gold ammo, and your opinion may vary and that's absolutely fine, but where I think gold ammo in World of Tanks absolutely ruins any kind of fun is at higher tiers, particularly tier 10, where the game is flooded with bullshit tanks that never existed, with bullshit armour that has no frontal weak spots, or has weak spots that are so heavily armoured that you need gold ammo to get through them anyway. And the entire game is balanced at tier 10 around the use of gold ammunition. which is another compelling reason, in my opinion at least, to not play at tier 10, much like Apache SP does, or doesn't do, and instead have fun down at the kind of levels where it really doesn't matter whether you've got gold loaded or not. I mean, Apache SP absolutely does not need the gold ammo in order to deal with the T3 of it. But, well, you know, it's his money. Just like the FCM Pack 40, it's his money. Let him spend it. It's not making any difference, as long as he's having fun. It's possible. With all the excitement, he's forgotten that he's got it loaded. But he is just wasting money here. And if you're sitting here thinking, what the hell is the T3 doing? Because he's getting reset every time Apache pops out. With a horrible accuracy of this gun, even at that kind of range, it's going to take Apache a while to kill him, but surely the T3 would be better off doing anything but sitting in the same spot where he's constantly getting hit and reset over and over. And I was thinking that myself, until I saw the T3's name. Julio Martin, 2014. Now, the conclusion that I'm about to leap to is obviously pure speculation. I have no hard evidence to support this theory one way or the other. Your opinion may vary, but it is not uncommon in online games for people to choose an in-game name that ends with their date of birth in order to individualise it, because there are probably a couple of Julio Martins in the world, but there are probably not that many born in 2014 who play World of Tanks, so it's entirely possible that the driver of the T3 over there really doesn't know any better and is honestly doing the best he possibly can because he's only 8 years old. So while a lot of you are probably sitting there watching the end of this battle thinking, for God's sake T3, do something, do anything other than that, let's not judge him too harshly, because it's entirely possible, because he's playing a tier 3 tank, that he might not just be new to the game, but given his username he's probably very new to life as well, and he's just doing the best he can. Either way, that's an ace tanker, Kolobanov's medal, defender and Top Gun for Apache SP in the world's cutest tank. Many small tanks were harmed during the making of today's video, for which I can only offer my most sincere apologies, but it was at least fun to watch, which is not something that you can often say of games played in much better tanks at higher tiers. And you know what? I'll say this much for Julio Martin 2014. He may just be a youngster, only 8 years old, based on his username. He may, based on the fact that he's playing at tier 3, have only installed the game this morning, but he wasn't the worst player on his team. Not by a long shot. So even though he did definitely choke up a bit at the end there, he did all right. Well done to him too. That's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.